This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
And they're off.
Good morning and welcome to And They're Off. We'd like to thank our friends at Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program, some of the other programs here on the network. Gulfstream Park, champions start here. Seth Merrow and Anthony Mormino in here on this Sunday morning. Good morning, Anthony.
Morning. How's college basketball going?
It's over. It's over for me.
I can't tell you how many people I know that said it was, you're not a big baseball fan, but they're like, all right, it's baseball season, the Syracuse.
Oh, man. And talk about
Plenty of good seats at the Dome the
Talk
other
about
night.
Fairweather fans. That was I thought about driving out on Wednesday, but it was just the weather was so screwy.
Yes.
But that was like 4,500, and the students weren't there. So when they shot the student section, you kind of understood that. But otherwise, somebody made the point about season ticket holders because it's the NIT. You don't automatically
No,
get you, but
you're
you
fine.
still like, come on.
Well, I will say this.
And it looked better yesterday.
Did
It looked
you
like
watch
a better
the
crowd
game?
yesterday? Yeah.
Two things I know is, boy, that place has got to be filled because seeing those silver bleachers
Oh,
is
man.
one of the worst television views. And having watched Syracuse in our market so much, how different the people in the seats that you constantly see because of the angle of television. It was completely different than, and that's the nature of, these specials. It's like, I just tell a quick story. I just had to renew my season tickets for the Rams 2 or 3 days ago, and they have a little button to click for the playoff ticket. Like going, we're not going to the playoffs for a long time. No, so kind of like the NIT, but it really, I really wondered because why didn't they just play in Manley Fieldhouse?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, that would be a more attractive. It was bad television. The Dome is so big, and if
There
you're not aware,
there may be some kind of logistic reasons.
yeah,
why they
the
don't.
silver seats and everything, so that's it. But that's fun today. Horse racing, we'll get to it. We
I-
almost got lucky that the snow was when it was. It really didn't disrupt horse racing so much. The one thing I want to say, I caught this, your real part of the handicap report, and I said, boy, I'll tell you, you talk about getting home on a respirator. With a 3-day race meet, how many 5-horse fields did you have on Sunday? And we're down to 3 days a week. Now, let me ask you something. Is it one of the strangest feelings you've ever had? The 4 days off, it just seems like you're a ship who can't get back to the dock. It's like, it's very strange.
Winter racing to me, I'm so in tune with Tampa and Oaklawn enough that for me, I am happy to point to other tracks on those days off. But it is different to have the 3 days in New York. All right, let's jump into hit on some of the topics. First topic up, our man Mike Callahan in the marketing department tossed this out the other day because they hit the jackpot bet at Mahoning Valley on Monday. It's the Buckeye 6, something like that, 20-cent bet, $88,000 on Monday. So he said, maybe, talk a little bit about the jackpots. And I thought, pretty good idea. And then I looked, and they are alive and well at 3 tracks currently.
All survived.
Gulfstream Park, the Rainbow Six, $765,000. Santa Anita Park, their jackpot bet, $317,000. And the Fairgrounds, which is a pick 5, they're at $179,000 right now. And again, the Buckeye pick 6 was hit the other day for $88,000. But that was Monday. I went back to Saturday, the previous day that they had racing there with the big carryover. It's a 20-cent base bet, and on Saturday it was $1,677 with a couple of favorites, a second choice, a third choice in there. There was 2 horses that were over $7 in the 6-horse sequence, so it was hittable, and you got $1,600. That's why I like the bet. I know you're not a horizontal player necessarily, but the folks who complain about the bet. And I can see the arguments. It takes money out of circulation during the time these are building up. And then you wind up with one winner who takes a lot of the money out of action as well. But I said it a couple of years ago.
Which you're not for.
Well, I said a couple of years ago when I kind of got into the the bet. The consos are so good when it gets up to $500,000 or more at Gulfstream. A couple of years ago, I picked up 3 of them between $800 and like $1,500 for modest-sized tickets. And things can kind of play out logically, and that's what I like about it. I think it can, while it's doing it, it can spread money around. Yeah, the one guy going away with $800,000, I get the arguments, but I think it's fun for a lot of people who don't have whale-sized budgets, but can put together whale-sized tickets and come down with decent payoffs.
What's interesting to me, and we've talked about this along with Brian Edo, is when you were writing those tickets with success, you probably were thinking, I'm not chasing the pot of gold. So it is unique that in horse racing, you're chasing a different bet. It's sort of like you come to the fork in the road and you want the less traveled one, I think, because I think the appeal of jackpots, just like the lottery, Seth and I grew up when the lottery was, I think, 42 numbers or something. It was hit very often. There was no big carryovers, and it didn't grow. But in horse racing, that's what's become very attractive. I will say this. Seth, easily more than 25 years ago, there were many of us that talked about the pick six being a dollar wager. And I think all of these types of bets are offshoots of that thinking that it was too expensive at $2 increments for 6 races. But the track argued, and I think some people that are pretty well known argued, they didn't want fractional bets in the pool. They didn't want those players in the pool. And I think at that time they could, but now the sport needs a different angle. I think it's wonderful. I don't participate. I'm not a horizontal guy. I think it's a better bet than the pick six for people. And I think they have tweaked different jurisdictions. Boy, you almost have to be a lawyer to read the Santa Anita ones, they run concurrent. I think that's confusing to some people that follow it 7 days a week. But the one thing that I love about it is the people have been offered it and they've embraced it. You might have not remembered this, but remember years ago when NYRA stopped having the pick 3 in the first race and what their explanation was? It was hurting the daily double pools. Who cares? That's what the customer wants. The customer wanted to bet the pick 3 in races 1, 2, and 3. Well, eventually they walked away from that idea of protecting the daily double pool. So in that regard, I'm all for it. I like the tweaking. Seth has taken a great attack at it. And I will say this. I am shocked that the algorithm, I call them the algorithm people, haven't jumped in here.
Well, maybe they have, because I said to Dick Paul on the earlier show that it gets hit more often now down at Gulfstream. The nature of it has changed. I said to Ron Nicoletti the other day, it builds up much faster now than it used to. It used to take a long time to get to about $500,000 after it got hit or from the start of the meet.
Right, it might not get back.
Now it zings right up. And speaking,
so you think at Gulfstream Park they might be there, but I'm Mahoning Valley, because when Mike sent that out, I looked at it, I go, I can't believe the people who, because I think those groups, they're happy to get the 1,200 to be a push for the day and move on. They're like, where it's for your bankroll, it's real good, we move on. They're like, all right, that's a push for the day. We move on to get the big ones, because I will tell you, the numbers intrigue me. And I think it's pretty well known that I'm an exacta trifecta guy. But the numbers intrigue me because I ran down the numbers, it being hit the other day. I was like, you need a $15 horse, and that's right up my alley.
Yeah, it's...
I think it's awesome.
And yesterday, I wanted to show the stretch run yesterday, because going into the last race, they put up, I think there was 28 tickets alive.
I got to interrupt. They have to do that everywhere. NYRA has to get on board with this.
And they do it right through the sequence.
Yes.
But they had 28 tickets alive.
And it's awesome.
And one of them was alive for the entire pool. Went off at 10-1, number 5, Starship Zorro. Look at the chicklets. That's number 5 in front.
Look at that.
If you have the single ticket, you're looking at $800,000. Watch this finish. This is one of the toughest $800,000 beats in the history of the game. And he comes back a little bit, and he loses by a nose. That was a tough, and it was a tough sequence to have, regardless. Again, the only single was that 5 horse who just got nipped. So it was a consolation. There was a number of tickets. Still took down $38,000 yesterday. So that's not my kind of ticket. That would have been tough for me to have. I'm looking at a third choice, a fifth choice, a sixth choice, a fourth choice, a couple more third choices. That was a tough sequence yesterday. But going back to Friday had you had three horses at less than $4, a $7 horse, a $5 horse, and $11 horse. You had three favorites and three second choices. Paid $885. So that's what I'm looking for. I put together a ticket today, and I think we'll throw it up on the screen. I'm jumping in now that it's at this level. So at Gulfstream today, if my math's right, I have a $28 ticket, $28 and change. The horses in parentheses are horses listed in order of preference to pull in if there's a scratch. Again, it's a 2x2x3 by 2x2x3 ticket. And again, we're looking for something like what happened on Friday, closer than what happened yesterday. We'll see, but if it kind of plays out the form, and part of the reason I'm jumping in and haven't really jumped in at all this season, regardless of how it's gotten, I heard you talking with Brian Nadeau yesterday. I think the number of races is catching up to him. We've got some shorter fields here that I think make it a little bit easier to handicap than maybe earlier in the meet.
Did you see that turf course?
They're using it a lot every day too.
I don't know how much you saw, but I know you love this racetrack. But on the network on Fridays, I'm pretty much dialed in, even though the alma mater was playing in that slot. Watching the turf course at Tampa Bay Downs, it looks beautiful. They're getting near the end of the meet, and what I was thinking was, and I know they're different meets, but I was like, what surprised me? Why don't they keep like one rail setting very infrequently used? I know that sounds like almost like a cast system or something, but keep one less used and run the stakes race and the better ones there, etc. I know trainers get upset with that, etc. But boy, that is rough.
Yeah, a couple more weeks of the championship meet. And I'll just toss out there on these jackpot bets.
They're running until October on that turf course.
Gulfstream Park today, again, 765. I'm going to jump in. Santa Anita, 317. Fairgrounds, which is a pick 5 bet, 179. I like these jackpot bets, but I will note, the Gulfstream minimum increment's 20 cents. Fairgrounds, it's only a pick 5, but it's a 50-cent minimum, so that changes things up. But Santa Anita, when they changed up and they went to a jackpot bet, I didn't agree with that. They kept their $2. Which
listen, you're preaching to the choir. He said in my adult lifetime, they had $5 minimum exacta bets.
That's right.
Do you know what their stance on it was? You're going to fall over. We might have to go to a commercial when I tell you what they used to put out of why. To protect the bettor. They actually said that with a straight face. They did not want the bettors going hog wild. $5 minimum. I have programs, ladies and gentlemen, that will prove that to be true.
I still think they're $2 daily double minimums out there.
They just have been this way.
All right, let's head to a break. When we come back, we have Sid Fernando up next. We're going to talk a little pedigree. There was some interesting action at the Ocala 2-year-old sale this week with a sire that we all remember, but has a first crop of 2-year-olds out there. We'll take a look at that. And also, Sid has kind of an interesting, maybe under-the-radar horse for the Triple Crown Trail that we'll take a pedigree look at. All of that right after this.
You're watching And They're Off on the OTB TV network.
Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
Is your favorite track in New York City, but you live upstate? At Capital OTB, Aqueduct and Belmont Park are closer than you think. With more than 60 easy bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from dozens of tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all easy bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, we're closer than you think.
Championship horse racing continues at Capital OTB. There's no better place to watch, wager, and win than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
Hey, race fans. Head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
Welcome back to And They're Off. Seth Merrill and Anthony Mormino live in the studio via phone. We're joined now by Sid Fernando, president of Work Thoroughbred Consultants, eMatings.com, eNix. Good morning, Sid.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Thought we'd have a little pedigree conversation. It's always interesting in the lead up to the Triple Crown to get some pedigree thoughts because obviously the distances play into some of the handicapping, and pedigree can be intriguing there. But I also thought it was interesting to have maybe a pedigree conversation with somebody who, as a thoroughbred pedigree consultant, looks at these and focuses on pedigree and gives advice because at the OBS sale this week, Orb, his first crop of 2-year-olds are out there, and I think we have video of Orb winning the Kentucky Derby back in 2013. He'll be the number 16 horse, the last win in his career. Subsequently, did not win after that, but we also have some video of Orb's offspring, Orb on Top, the Damn Remember, from the workout session earlier this week at Ocala. This horse went through the sale on the opening day at the session and attracted $1.25 million. Again, Orb's first crop. I'm just curious from a pedigree standpoint, give us a little thought on Orb attracting that kind of attention this early in the career. Now, the horse we're going to look at in a few minutes working out at OBS, there is some nice Phipps black type underneath through the dam, but again, Orb's still untested as far as 2-year-olds, although this horse worked in 10 flat. But again, give us a little pedigree conversation, Orb starting his sire career.
Yeah, sure. Seth, one of the things that I've talked about, and it's just part of history, but first crop sires always get a lot of attention, and especially if it's a well-regarded first crop sire from a good well-raised horse, good family, good farm. It's just one of the things of racing that first crop sires tend to get their best mares in that first crop. So there's always interest in those horses. And, just take a quick look back. I mean, Nyquist for Uncle Mo, for example, Zenyatta and Street Sense for Street Cry, Rachel Alexandra for Medaglia d'Oro. They all came from the first crop, So there's always that interest in a first crop sire, and in this particular case, Orb, stood for $25,000 at Claiborne. It's just the cachet, for example, just of being at Claiborne alone. His yearling off that first crop stud fee averaged $147,000 off that $25,000 stud fee. Last year, his first yearlings, obviously, last year. So there's already a lot of buzz. Horses make really well put together horses. They had the pedigrees. It was only a matter of time before, the most athletic of them who get into the 2-year-old sales. Once you put a good time on it, as you pointed out, the 10 flat for that $1.25 billion colt, But there was also the other colt out of Lynette by Johannesburg brought 600,000. Just a month earlier at Phasic Tipped in February, another colt out of Spring Awakening bought 500,000. So these horses are actually starting to run, certainly in the 2-year-old format, the way they've looked, and it's just the recipe for high prices. And it's a tip-off. Obviously, these 2-year-old sales are really a good indicator of what might happen. Horses like Nyquist came out of a 2-year-old sale as well. So he's a horse you got to keep an eye on. And for potential handicappers and people looking down the road, just mark down some of these high-priced horses and start to track them.
And I'm curious, again, from a pedigree standpoint, obviously, you're throwing it's a roll of the dice with a horse that hasn't had any horses get to the track yet, and I can see kind of paying a premium a little bit, a couple $100,000, $400,000, $500,000. But when you talk about getting up over $1 million, it really seems like a huge roll of the dice that we haven't seen any of his horses on the track. Now, again, they have the 2-year-old workouts before these 2-year-old auctions, so they did get to actually see the horse work out. But again, from a pedigree standpoint and from somebody who consults folks, is that it seems like a huge gamble to spend over $1 million on an unproven sire.
Gambling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's when you're talking about first crop sires, the thing is it's wildcatting. You just don't really know. But here's the thing: when you have a horse like Orb, who was a classic horse, a Derby winner, and then you put him in a 2-year-old format, and they're working extremely fast, 10 flat. That's kind of gravy. You're expecting these horses really to do well as classic colts, and the fact that they're showing so much early is an added impetus to go after these horses because you're not expecting that, and it kind of just it's the athleticism of the horse coming out. Of course, when you start to go into 2-year-old sales, pedigree kind of takes a backseat to the actual times and the performances, the way these horses move. Not just the final times, but a lot of these horses are driven, but some of these horses, the visual observer can tell how they actually did it. And so with these horses, with these quick times and the fact that they're really set up for, their 3-year-old seasons by pedigree, that kind of even adds to the fuel, Seth and Anthony, and it creates this type of commercial dynamic.
Now, Sid, I have a quick question. With Orb, to me, with his lineage and his race record as such, came to hand in the early part of the winter for Shug, and as Seth mentioned, never won race after the Derby. His stud fee at $25,000, is that because he seems to almost be atypical, that you would think you'd get a classic type of runner, not a precocious type of runner?
Yeah. $25,000 for him was kind of a reasonable stud fee. Wasn't that? It's obviously, not $100,000. It's not the type of stud fee that a horse like an American Pharoah would get, a Triple Crown winner. It's just, it's a nice solid stud fee for a horse that won the Derby, wasn't an exceptional horse in terms of wow performances, but has that classic pedigree. Phipps Janney family, Claiborne, Cachet. And the thing with Anthony, with Claiborne, is they don't, it's very difficult to actually get the Claiborne horses in a way. They don't have expanded books. So, they're not breeding 200 mares a year. So there's some added cachet just to get in. They really evaluate the mares before they accept these horses. Bernie Sams does a terrific job at Claiborne Farm. And even this year, for example, now this is a year where a horse's stud fee usually goes down in his 4th and 5th years. This is his 4th year because they're that far removed from the spotlight, and yet his stud fee is $25,000 this year. It's still strong. And, I put a couple of mares for some clients to him this year. We got in with one, but it's not an easy thing even this year. It just shows you the demand, far removed from his racetrack performances is still there. And obviously, if he hits this year, you take a case like, let's look at Uncle Mo. Once his first crop hit, Uncle Mo was $25,000 the year that his 2-year-olds ran, and he's now a 6-figure horse for this year. So once they hit, they can really explode.
Well, I'll tell you, the horse they're all chasing in the modern time for me was the escalation of Warfront and his fee. I've never seen anything like it. I know Stormcat at the very end had a couple of really big jumps, AP Indy, but I've never seen anything in the commercial breeding like the way Warfront just exploded. I think it was 3 or 4 consecutive years taking huge leaps commercially.
Yeah, he's a horse that's gone from, again, another Claiborne horse, by the way. It went from like 12.5 to, upwards of 250, 300,000, no guarantee.
Unbelievable.
So that, and Tappett's similar as well. Tappett started out in that 15, 17 range, and then he's 300,000.
Well, I'll tell you, Sid, as a gentleman in his 50s who grew up with solid and professional pedigree, I'm fearful that Classic is going away, so I have a soft spot for Tappett.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great lead-in, actually, to the horse that I wanted to. You guys asked me about a horse to discuss.
Yeah, let me set that up because
right.
I did, when I got in touch with you, I said give us maybe a horse on the Triple Crown Trail that you can pick apart the pedigree a little bit and give us something to look at. And you came up with one that I'm sure is under the radar for a lot of people. We're going to go back and watch the March 9th allowance optional claimer from Santa Anita. Number 7, Battle of Midway, will be the winner by a neck. The favorite, however, 6-5, the number 2 horse, Reach the World. That's the horse you're going to talk about a little bit. This is the 3rd career start for Reach the World. Broke the maiden in the previous start for Bob Baffert, a son of Tappett out of a Galileo mare. Reach the World, again, running second in here, the number 2 horse. 3rd career start, but one you find could be a little bit intriguing perhaps going forward as a 3-year-old. Give us a little pedigree breakdown on Reach the World.
You want me to start right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, this colt, as Anthony was pointing out, Tappett already has Taprit, obviously everybody knows, broke through. But this colt, a little under the radar. He ran a huge race with Battle of Midway. Both horses expected to come back in the Santa Anita Derby. But this is a colt out of a Galileo mare. A lot of stamina. This horse will probably do well on the turf. Tappett's have run extremely well on turf. Galileo, of course, the same thing. This colt, if you notice, when he broke his maiden, he had Sonneteer in 3rd behind him, and Sonneteer came back yesterday to run a huge race behind Malagasy in the Rebel, kind of franking that form. This is a colt who was born in utero. Don Alberto, the Chilean corporation, the Chilean farm of Carlos Heller Solari and his mother Liliana Solari, purchased this mare in foal to Tappett for $850,000. They offered the colt as a yearling and bought him back for $975,000. I've spoken to their advisor, Fernando Diaz Valdez, who said, the colt was just too good for them to even think about letting go, so they put the horse in training with Bob Baffert. An interesting thing, guys, this colt by Tappett. Tappett is a huge favorite for the Don Alberto group. They're the owners, of course, of Unique Bella as well, top filly in the country, also by Tappett. They have a lot of Tappets on the farm. They breed the Tappet a lot. They're Chilean. They bought the vinery and they turned that into Don Alberto.
Okay.
They're one of two Chileans, big-time Chileans in the Kentucky sphere. The other one, of course, Malagasi's owner, is Sumaya U.S. Now, that's the farm of the Chilean Usama Abu Ghazaleh. So you've got two Chileans right now with exciting 3-year-olds, colts and fillies. And so that itself is a pretty incredible phenomenon. And specifically with this colt, there's some similarities in the pedigree to Taprit, too. This colt is by Tap, and his second dam is by Seattle Slew. Now, Tapit is a son of Pulpit, AP Seattle Slew, the Seattle Slew line horse. So what you have is inbreeding to Seattle Slew. That's that stamina reinforced. Taprit also by Tapit, and his third dam is by Seattle Slew. Similar inbreeding. A lot of good Tapits have had that Seattle Slew inbreeding in their pedigree as well. So there's a lot to like about this colt on pedigree. Female family, real quick. It's an old Alan Paulson family, and just a massive commercial page. I mentioned the dam is by Galileo. The second dam is Claxton Slew, and she's of course the dam of Asina, the champion older mare, won the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Apple Blossom, bunch of races, obviously earned close to $3 million. Humble, European race, G2 winner. Show Lady, won the Boiling Springs. And it's a beautiful family. It's bred, Anthony, for what you want.
Yes.
The classics.
And so we will watch Reach the World go forward. Southern California needs a standard bearer on the trail after what happened to Mastery last week and what happened to American Anthem yesterday, but perhaps Bob Baffert has reached the world. Sid, we appreciate the visit. Again,
Thank
Work
you.
Thoroughbred Consultants, and I love the website title, workhorse.com, but it's with an E, W-E-R-K,
That's right.
E-Matings, E-Nix. Sid, we appreciate the visit. We'll talk again.
Great being on here, guys.
Thanks,
a lot.
Sid.
Thanks a lot. Sid Fernando, a little pedigree conversation there. Reach the world. Be interesting to watch. As I say, Southern California needs somebody. All right. Just before we go to a break, quickly, let's just do a little recap from last night, or 2 nights ago, Friday night. It was yesterday, Saturday in Australia, Friday night, our time. The George Ryder, a Group 1. Winks, the phenomenal race mare, was going for her 16th in a row. She's going to be the number 8 horse. Blue and White Silks, a white pom-pom on the cap. Believe me, when they get to the stretch, you'll be able to pick her out pretty easily. She wins by a chart margin of over 7. La Romaine and Chautauqua running second and third, had run first and second in a Group 1 last time, and she absolutely dusts them. I think this was her 10th. Dick Powell earlier said her 11th Group 1, so 10th or 11th Group 1 on the resume. Put her under over $10 million in earnings. I compared her to, for folks who don't follow racing over in Australia, if you look at the media over there before and after she races, to me very similar to what we saw when Zenyatta here was on her win streak.
Great correspondence. The overhead view, Seth, gave us a great look at when I think a race course is a bog or heavy. You could see the clods left behind in the wake of the runners, and Winks just really, I was thinking of Miesk in her 88 Breeders' Cup, annihilates them on this heavy going, and she moves in a way that, boy, you just don't see horses on this. I mean, she just, it's almost like it's a pool table firm, just, as Seth said, even now, she just throttles this Group 1 race, and I think she's stepping out to a 1.25 miles next, which is very exciting.
She's won the Cox Plate twice already. She's just phenomenal, and she's chasing for money earnings. She's chasing Sunline and Maccabi Diva, who are just ahead of her, so it's fun to watch those kind of records be attained to. But man, this was just some kind of performance. Again, Friday night.
Throttled down.
And again, if you don't watch Australia and Europe, there are great stories out there, and these are just so easy to follow now in this day and age. We cover the racing here on the network. You can follow it via the internet very easily. All right, let's take our break. When we come back, Jeff Taylor from Oaklawn Park. Nice day, obviously highlighted by the Rebel. We'll do a little recap of the Oaklawn Stakes action from yesterday right after this.
You're watching And They're Off on the OTB TV network.
Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
Is your favorite track in New York City, but you live upstate? At Capital OTB, Aqueduct and Belmont Park are closer than you think. With more than 60 easy bed and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from dozens of tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all easy bed and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, we're closer than you think.
Championship horse racing continues at Capital OTB. There's no better place to watch, wager, and win than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touchtone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touchtone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touchtone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
Welcome back to And They're Off, joined now by Jeff Taylor from Oaklawn Park. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you this morning?
I hope you had the sunblock on yesterday, Jeff.
There was a lot of pink skin coming out of here yesterday evening, let me tell you.
What a glow.
I always rated these springtimes in Arkansas when the infield was open on Saturday from 1 to 10. A, beer drinking weather, and B, quality of the racing, and I think we scored an 11 on both of those fronts yesterday.
Understandable.
And you said big crowd, too.
Yeah, 36,000
Nice.
estimated. It was just great. Springtime in Arkansas, you know, we got the Final Four going on, and it's just a great time to be a sports fan here.
Let's jump right into it, and let's work our way backwards. The highlight yesterday was the Rebel Grade 2 event. And we were talking about this when we had you on Friday. It's almost at this point in the year 2016 that this may, in and of itself, become a prep for the Kentucky Derby with $900,000 up for grabs. That said, Todd Pletcher talked about bringing back potentially the winner to the Arkansas Derby. The winner is Malagasy, the number 6 horse. Sonneteer, number 3 at 112 to 1, does win the blanket photo. Untrapped runs 3rd. Petrov runs 4th. The disappointment in here, number 7, American Anthem, coming in for Bob Baffert, 8 to 5, runs 10th in the field of 11. But a pretty nice performance by Pletcher's lightly raced runner, Malagasy. What did you take away from the Rebel?
Yeah, it was virtually a replay of the Southwest when Pletcher brought the one-liner in here, a horse that just 2 starts, both sprints, stakes debut, 2-turn debut, and they ran almost identical races. Beyer come back, I think, 91 I saw this morning. Obviously not impressive, but I thought, and Anthony, the West Coast stock really took a hit yesterday with Royal Mo's performance, the only graded winner in the Rebel, and then, of course, Baffert, who had owned the Rebel up until that point yesterday with American Anthem. He just absolutely did not fire, dead empty in the stretch. So I don't know. If anything, I think it complicated the 3-year-old picture even more, you know, especially with this almost maiden running second, and 20 points is 20 points at this stage of the game, and he might be looking a little bit better now come first Saturday in May. Just a great ride, I thought, by Romney on DeSormo's colt. Dropped into the rail and then ran up the rail when it was open. So to win the nod 2 or 3-way photo for second. But an interesting race nonetheless. I don't know what it's going to tell us in the grand scheme of things as a 3-year-old picture, but it was an interesting race indeed.
I'll tell you, Jeff, as a race watcher, and you make mental notes. Boy, I'll tell you, I might not have taken 8-1 on Malagasy at the half-mile pole. We get to see Javier Castellano for about the last 18 years in New York regularly. But, boy, you talk about coming off of 2 sprints and rooting, and I thought he was working a little bit on the far turn. But, boy, he looked very good the last 3/16 of a mile.
Yeah, I found, it's just one of those things you can't really definitively explain, but he did, Anthony, I thought, find another gear late. And
absolutely.
Kind of kicked. Like, he just kind of dropped down a little bit and really accelerated the final 16th of a mile or so, and that's what you like to see in a Colt. And I know the big guys aren't going to be too impressed with that 91, but it's oftentimes how you do it, not how fast you do it. And I was impressed as you were.
I agree because, Jeff, you make a better point than I was trying to make. You don't expect that gear to be found when you're working before the middle of the turn. That's what that's just a great analogy. That the gear, you're supposed to almost come up empty, and he was the opposite.
He was, and he was going best of all. I thought at the end, even some of the horses that were picking up some of the pieces behind him weren't making anything up on him. It was more or less the horses that were in that second flight that were getting really tested late and looking a little bit lumbersome, if you will. But, Pletcher, if he brings him back from the Derby, I don't think he's going to scare anybody away. We were talking about it a little bit this morning here. Fully expect 10, 12, probably even 14 off of Malagasy's win, because I don't think he's going to scare anybody off. But I was taking nothing away from the Colts. He ran, he did his job, and it was only his 3rd career start, first around 2 turns, first stakes track. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I think it was a nice performance by the winner. And again, this DeSormo's horse coming in at 112-1 underneath, intriguing. A maiden now adds added another $180,000.
But like Jeff said, he gets to 20 points.
And the 20 points, yes.
So
20 points.
He's close to knocking on the door.
It is just another addition to what is so far just a Derby trail that is totally undefined, and this added more question marks. All right, let's go back and take a look at the Essex, the handicap division this year. A lot of fun. Obviously, a couple of the big performers in Dubai this coming Saturday with Arrogate and Gunrunner coming out of the big performance at Oaklawn. But the Essex handicap yesterday, $250,000 as they ran a mile and a 16th. And the betting public went for the number 2, More Spirit, coming out of the good second-place triple-digit buyer in the San Antonio last time for Bob Baffert. More Spirit gets it done pretty easily. The Pletcher runner, Made from Lucky, just gets nosed out for second by Domain's Wrap. But again, More Spirit, a preliminary buyer, I read a 103, so pretty good performance here from the Baffert runner.
Yeah, it was a good, useful, I thought, business-like performance by him, and he didn't do anything flashy, but really didn't need to against that bunch yesterday. It was obviously his race to win or lose. Domain's Wrap, another good effort from him. He's got a great season going here at Oaklawn. Won a stake or two earlier in the meet for the handicap division. He's kind of proven himself to be best of the locals. But More Spirit, again, as expected, did the job. Good trip. Obviously he had the leader in his sights the whole way. It was a good, solid performance. I don't think anything flashy going to come of it, but he did what he had to do.
All right, and finally, let's take a look at the Azeri. And normally I call for the stretch run just for time, but I said pull up the entire race here because we talked about it, Jeff, on Friday. Terra Promessa came in just a super horse for a course angle, and she goes off as the 30-cent to $1 favorite. Terra Promessa is the number 2 horse, and watch as she goes into the first turn. If you could hear the call, Vic Stauffer says, quote, a world of trouble. Your chart comments as well note plenty of trouble for the number 2 Promessa. You and Anthony were talking during the break. Will Irad Ortiz be riding for Steve Asmussen much in the future? And given the fact that she winds up running a really disappointing 5th in the field of 7, it's you have to look at this as being the reason why that trouble going into the first turn. That said, Streamline the number 7, a nice winner at 12-1. Eskin for Money, the Pletcher horse, runs second. Tiger Moth at 31-1 runs third. With the horse running out of the money, show price is $19, $12, and $45. So check under the bridges down there in the Hot Springs area. But give us your thoughts on the Azeri yesterday.
Obviously the incident in the first turn, I thought he could have had the lead. You know what kind of filly he'd had under him, and for him to just stay in there and get trapped not once but twice there, before they've gone halfway through the first turn. But I think even more importantly, guys, it was the fact that he still had a ton of horse under him into the second turn. Probably could have looped out at any time. He elected to stay lapped and covered up, and she just didn't have anything left. I counted 4 separate instances, and I only have 17 characters on my short comment. And I almost put nightmare trip, because if there was ever a definition of a nightmare trip, it was hers. And we said about the 3/8 pole when she was still lapped up. I said, I made the comment here up in the press box. I bet those bridge jumpers getting a little nervous about now, and they just had to be absolutely nauseated with the stretch run, because she did not have a thing left in the tank.
Well, Jeff, I always maintain that the first eighth of a mile is far more important than when everybody stands up for the stretch. But the problem that I had with Irad Ortiz, that you made the accurate thing, he has clear running out of the gate, and he looks over to his right and allows the trouble to find him. All he had to do was nudge her a little bit to get the position going into the first turn, and he yielded that position voluntarily. That's unforgivable.
It is, and like you say, he caught the break. She broke. I think I had her break in second, and absolutely no trouble past the wire the first time. And good Lord, I say it just defines explanation, that ride does. And I don't like to knock riders. It's a favorite hobby of every handicapper and bettor in the world, and they always try to find the reason. And the human element on board is obviously the brunt of a lot of criticism. But it's just inescapable. That outcome was most definitely affected by that ride. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, given how well she'd been coming into it, it was certainly a disappointment. We'll look for a rebound from her last time. Jeff, got to wrap things up, but as always, we appreciate the visit, the recap of the big day at Oaklawn yesterday, and we'll talk again in a couple of weeks.
Enjoyed it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff Terrell from Oaklawn. Why don't we because we skipped over it so we'd get to Jeff on time, do our handicapping segment now, and I'll jump in.
How did you come up with this race of the day? I feel like you set me up with this
well,
one.
I love the maiden races, but I know a lot of other people don't, and so I
debated. But this one, you're like.
But I also. And I wound up making it my play of the day, too. So I'll combine both of them in here, because I looked at this race, and then I looked for a play of the day, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back, because I kind of like this race. The 10th at Gulfstream today, maiden specials going 6 furlongs. A lot of firsters in here with some really interesting, fun breeding. Dick Powell was on earlier. He used the 9 horse, who already has a couple of races, and the 9 scares me. The 2 scares me, Bourgeois from Dale Romans. I didn't use either of those, but they're interesting. I went 8, 5, 3, and 7. I think Bixby Lou for Pletcher is going to be live first time out. We'll hope for the morning line of 5-1. Harlan's Holiday last year, 129.
Good luck with that, by the way. This guy is
129
awful.
first-time starters.
My play of the day.
15 wins, 18 seconds, 9 thirds. So Harlan's Holiday's good. The Dam produced a sibling called La Cuesta. That one took 8 starts to win, but a good second at 11-1 in the second career start. So I think there's some precociousness. Bixby Lou on top. But the interesting one for me that made it my play of the day is Golden Domer. Quality Road, very good first time out of the box. The March 2nd bullet work. And the Dam produced a sibling called Celebrity Sighting that won the first 2 starts of the career. So I think Golden Domer, again, we'll hope for the 15-1. And I'm hoping the morning line, the Pletcher horse is dicey because of Pletcher, but the other ones maybe so.
Right?
So I'll jump in 4 deep with an exacta box. 8, 5, 3, and 7 in the 10th. Again, take a look at the 9 and the 2 if things scratch.
The 3, the 7.
Again, the morning line,
What
I
a
think,
race.
has to and can potentially hold, because I think the 9
Which, by the way,
will take some money.
Seth sends me a thing, the topic of the day.
Morning lines?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well,
And what obligation they have.
Some are much better than others.
And do they have an obligation? And should they be called out like 10-1 in the morning line at Aqueduct yesterday? No scratches in the race, goes off 2-1 favorite.
Yeah, no, it's a tough job, though. I will say that.
I'm not saying that, but if they have an obligation, should they be held quickly on this race, the race of the day? I think Seth just wants to extend his lead here. I love for Avi that Seth didn't even mention the Henny Hughes. That's where I'm going here.
Yeah, I looked at that one too.
Nice workouts at Gulfstream Park. I liked for the prep here. He's definitely going to get lost in the wagering.
I mentioned it. I got down the 4th spot. He's in my box.
And the deuces, the Dale Romans first to the awesome again. I found it inexplicable, and I was I was yelling at him at my computer that he picked that race. So you're done with your play of the day. Since
Yeah, because I mulled them up together, but play of the day.
Do you have the fourth race?
I do.
Look at that. If I get 6-1 on Carbon Data, it's my birthday in March. This morning line is way off. I'd be happy to take 3. I got an exact box, the 1-3.
Yeah,
down on the rail with Castellano. And not only that, Seth, now I like when the horses are the favorites in the debut and they lose and you come back and you get a better price, but I'm not getting 6-1 in this race. You watch the race, Castellano doesn't make too many mistakes. This was a little small mistake in a maiden claiming 50. He lost position by not using a little extra energy. That half a gear that I talk about, I think he knew he cost him. This horse ran great in that race. 6-1 would be a farce that I get here on the 1-3 exacta here trying to play catch up.
All right, 1-3 straight or boxing it up?
Box exacta, because I like the 3 also. Somerville for Shug, I thought that was complete practice on February 19th. I'll tell you what, you watch that race. If nothing looks like a morning jog as that horse in that spot if you bet it at 6-1. But I love the fourth today. You're not getting 6-1. I'm not either.
All right, I'll ask the guys in the control room. Should we take a break, skip a break? How should we do this here? We got a little bit left on the show. So we'll take the quick break. We'll come back and just kind of wrap things up. Got a couple more quick hitter kind of topics, a little preview of the Dubai World Cup. But we'll take a break and come back, wrap things up right after this.
You're watching And They're Off on the OTB TV network.
Can this thing go any faster?
I'm doing 30.
Conquistador Cielo puts ahead in front. Alomas Ruler on the outside is second. And Runaway Groom from Canada moves up. Runaway Groom alongside the inner 2. Those 3 to the wire. Runaway Groom, Alomas Ruler, Conquistador Cielo, Runaway Groom in front.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today. Face it, most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. CapitalOTB.com.
Championship horse racing continues at Capital OTB. There's no better place to watch, wager, and win than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
With more than 60 easy bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all easy bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB. We're closer than you think.
Back to And They're Off on this Sunday morning. Seth Merrow and Anthony Mormino. As I said, just a couple of more topics to hit. Did want to give you a preview because coming up next Saturday, we open up early here at the Clubhouse Racebook, an 8:30 start here. The doors open. Dubai World Cup Day, internationally one of the biggest days in racing. And obviously this year there is some American interest. The big race, Arrogate. I pulled up the replay from the Razorback because I mentioned it a couple times last week. I kind of alluded to it earlier. I'm intrigued. Off of this Razorback, Gun Runner for Steve Asmussen is going to be the number 1 horse. Comes out of this race with a 110 buyer. And I think this race and maybe Shaman Ghost out in the big cap said that the handicap division may be a little more contentious this year than we might have been giving it credit for after the Pegasus. But we'll get, I think, a pretty good idea of that on Saturday in Dubai with Arrogate, Gunrunner, Opportunity, also from the United States, set up potentially at the Dubai World Cup, Keen Ice and Neolithic. But I'm really intrigued to see Gunrunner and Arrogate, excuse me,
Yes.
because I want to see if he can continue. He's just super special, obviously, but I want to see what Gunrunner can do in there and maybe be a little competitive.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's an exact.
Listen, Gunrunner, he could be maturing. He looked brilliant in that race. All power to you. But I've said it before. For me, this is Ghost Zapper redo. And Ghost Zapper is the best horse I've seen since Spectacular Bid. I think I've said this before to you as a Hall of Fame voter. The Hall of Fame is the Hall of Fame, but there should be this extra little corner where the absolutely special physical specimens are. And I think he's there.
You know my complaint.
I know you do.
I think durability, if you're a special physical specimen, then durability should kind of count somehow. But I've also said it before, that may just be the way things going, so my mentality maybe has to change. But I also think Arrogate is a little bit different than that.
When somebody wins the Met Mile in their seasonal debut that way.
Yeah, there's no denying he's exceptionally talented. Also, on Saturday in the sprint, Mind Your Biscuit, Stallwalking Dude, St. Joe Bay, and Imperial Hint. Out of those, Stallwalking Dude from New York and Mind Your Biscuits are the intriguing ones in the sprint. But also they have the UAE Derby, which is the Kentucky Derby points race coming up. Interesting for me, Vittori Kin goes out for Ken McPeak. Full south of the border, south of the hemisphere, in the southern hemisphere, south of the equator. So technically a 4-year-old, not eligible for the Kentucky Derby, but is eligible for this Dubai race. Epicharis from Japan, who is the Derby point leader on the Japan point system. He'll potentially be in the UAE Derby. But I pulled up the OBS championship from the end of January. The winner here is going to be the number 7 Master Plan. And Master Plan's in the UAE Derby for Todd Pletcher. So again, some interest over there, as this is, again, a points race.
This place looks
and I
beautiful.
think the Pletcher, synthetic track. And, you know, they run races once
no
a
betting,
year.
Right?
A couple of years ago, they had betting on a couple of races. I've never been there, but there is a simulcast facility right there. So they have machines and everything. But this year, yeah, no betting.
Oh.
But again, that's Master Plan, getting it done
Nice.
for Pletcher on a synthetic surface, going over for the
Sweet.
UAE Derby Saturday. So again, some nice American rooting interest on the day coming up Saturday, this coming Saturday, Dubai World Cup. Things open
Where
up
does it
early
put
here.
him in money one if he wins? He's got to be first, right? Does he leapfrog the whole world?
What is the...
He just banked $7 million.
Oh, Arrogate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Arrogate. And the number of starts, money won per start. I mean, you know,
Travers.
figure out that percentage. All right, just hit on some quick hitters.
Whatever it is a good one.
Yeah, no, the money he is putting up in the limited
I
number of
just wanna say
starts
one
is
thing. I
just
know
mind-boggling.
What's amazing is that Judd Montt reached out and bought a horse, and they bought this one. You talk about money to money. This might be the greatest example in mankind that Judd Montt goes to the sales and gets
There was
Arrogate.
also, speaking of money to money, I mentioned it last week, but again, the OBS sale, the Ziots are now into pin hooking. They pin hooked a horse for, I think, $250,000 at Keeneland September.
So
Sold
American
it-
Pharaoh going to 200 mares isn't
sold
enough?
Sold it for well over $1 million. I think it was the Wednesday sales topper. So that was a pretty good turnaround in 6 months' time. All right, quick hitters. Let me talk about, a fun promotion yesterday at Laurel. Hats off to them for putting together a really big day. Gabby Gaudet tweeted out a shot. It was the Fantasy Owners Day at Laurel. And what they did was they invited folks to kind of be an owner for a day. You could come out in the morning and watch workouts. You would be attached to one horse during the day. You could go to the paddock. And then they announced at this gathering that you would be attached to that horse all year long and have the potential to win up to a piece of $30,000 if your horse is the leading money earner, and they give $10,000 for second, $5,000 for third, and so on and so on. But you follow your horse all year long. At the end of the year, again, the leading purse earner among the horses and the folks who are participating in that horse get to split some money. They had 300 people show up. They said they were expecting maybe 100. They got triple that. It was a big day. They're hoping some of these people can now jump in the game as owners. So again, hats off to Laurel for what I think was a really nice promotion.
Absolutely. That is a great job.
Yeah, and also wanted to touch on, and I think we have video here. It's always fun to see these guys win their first time out. Abimael Medina on Friday at Gulfstream wins race number 5. His first win in 19 career starts, and it's nice. The guy there on the far side, it's Javier Castellano. Yeah, the leading jockey in the country goes out for the kid and douses him the traditional hazing of tossing things out. And I just wanted to also toss out Robbie Davis. His daughter Katie Davis won her first stakes race yesterday at Laurel. Won the Conniver yesterday as her first stakes win. Interesting because she was in a nasty spill last Saturday there. Comes back and wins a stake yesterday. And the word came out this week that she'll ride at Delaware this summer. It's interesting. Her agent, former jockey Joe Rocco.
The dad. Joe Rocco, the dad. Yep, absolutely.
And again, daughter of Robbie Davis. The Davis family on track. That's pretty nice. They're all father.
Well, I told you,
dad's footsteps.
It didn't get enough publicity. The riding in New York, the 3 of them in one race. That's a seminal moment and topic for another day.
Yeah, Mike Luzzi and Lane Luzzi now as well. I'm sure they'll wind up competing a few times before the end of Mike's career. And I mentioned it on the Handicapper Support earlier. Dave Grenig tweeted out yesterday, Mike Luzzi's having a pretty good winter in New York. Top 10 there. All right, anything before we wrap up?
No, still pitching for the tweet of the week, but we'll keep
Well, there's
firing.
plenty of time. There's plenty of time.
I know, that's what I'm hoping.
All right, we're going to wrap things up for this edition of And They're Off. Again, we would love to hear from you. If you have comments, suggestions, you'd like to see us cover topics, tweet out to us,
Please
go to the Facebook page, or send an email, viewermail@capitalotb.com. Take 2 minutes, viewermail@capitalotb.com. We would love to hear from you. Seth Merrill and Anthony Marmino, we're here every Sunday morning from 10 until 11 a.m. Enjoy the races this afternoon. Oh, thanks to our friends at Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship. Gulfstream Park. Champions start here.
You have your sunblock ready?
Yeah, we'll be down in a couple of weeks. Capital OTB Live, Florida Derby weekend. All right, enjoy the races this afternoon. We'll see you again next Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.